What's going on, everyone? It is Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. I wanted to go over a couple of things, and this is going to be more so. There's a lot of facts that are out there. There's a lot of fiction that's out there, but this is more like people still believing in the government contracting dream. I still believe in the government contracting dream, and I want to just go over a few notes that I took to explain kind of like, or really asking the audience, is government contracting the fastest way to wealth in 2025? At the recording of this video, it is the end of 2024, December 23rd, actually. And I just wanted to know, from the audience, when you guys do watch this video, if you feel like government contracting is still the fastest way to wealth. I still do. I always will. And hold on, y'all. Got to turn my light. Okay. All right. But I want to go over a few notes and just share some of the things that I have taken down, and give some opinions and give some stories with the notes that I have, of how you can actually scale your business and make it the fastest way to wealth for you if you're just getting started, or if you're like, I'm going to commit in 2025 that this is what I'm going to do, and I want to share some of those processes and basically prove my point or plead my case that government contracting is still the fastest way to wealth. So let's get to it. All right. So is the fastest way to wealth? I believe it can be the fastest way to build wealth if done strategically. Emphasis, heavy emphasis, big on the strategy, okay? Because you can just throw something up against the wall and just hope it sticks, but that's not sustainable, and that's not who I'm talking to. And frankly, if you feel that way, then you probably just need to leave this video right now, because I'm talking about building wealth and I'm talking about scaling your business and trying to get to the bag and then stay in the bag and not just get a couple of things here and there just because you got lucky. Just being honest. So let's go over a couple of these. So due to its potential, it's the fastest way to wealth if done strategically due to the potential of large long-term contracts and reoccurring revenue. But of course, success depends on you, your preparation, your strategy, execution, and all that kind of stuff, right? So why is it the fastest way to wealth? It's because a lot of times, a lot of contracts are high value contracts, right? Millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars are still considered high value contracts, in my opinion, okay? And then a lot of times, you can even grow those to be larger than how they started. So just keep in mind, a smaller contract doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be small forever. It might just be small for now, okay? And of course, I'm in facilities, so that's one of the main industries, because it's so vast and there's so many different industries within facilities that you can just choose one or choose multiple, and then decide that, what, I really like painting, so I'm going to stay on the painting track and just make my millions that way. There's plenty of people that do that. Be a plumber, plenty of contracts that you can get doing plumbing as a self-employed person, or even hiring others. Eventually, you want to remove yourself from doing the day-to-day, or removing yourself from actually doing a physical labor, and then trying to, build wealth, because you got to be the brains of this thing, right? You got to be the mastermind of this business to scale it, grow it, and market it, and be innovative in your journey. Okay, so you don't want to be the person that's literally plunging toilets. You want to be the person who's hiring the people to plunge toilets. No disrespect, because it's a very important job. Also, IT services, constructions, logistics are usually going to be the main focuses, but they have others like consulting. Marketing is becoming pretty large right now. Healthcare, all those things are still very, very valuable. Another reason why I believe it's the fastest way, because there's a lot of things that we can sell, and pretty much once we sell it, it's over with, right? If we were to just stop selling tomorrow, that'll be the end of it. Like if our site crashed or something, that'll be the end of our sales. But when it comes to contracting, you have reoccurring revenue. Okay. A lot of the contracts are multi-year, even products, where the agency will order multiple products from you at certain times of the year for multiple years. So that's reoccurring revenue that you can predict. Now, of course, things can happen where you get a contract and it gets canceled, or the government has a shutdown, like it kind of sort of is right now, or talking about it. And just FYI, lots of federal contracts are still funded through shutdown. So We've had several where it was, written in our contract that even if there's a shutdown, that we will still get paid for services. But when it comes to that, there may be a budget halt. So just always just keep those things in mind that nothing's guaranteed, but the reoccurring revenue, at least you know that there's a plan for it. And it doesn't have to, you're not having to constantly sell every single day, that these contracts are going to be multi-year most of the time, especially the main ones on the federal side and sometimes local is 5-year contracts. 3 to 5 years is pretty typical for services and others, but that's all contingent on your industry for sure. So you can have, and it says on my notes, half a decade. That sounds like a long time. 5 years is half a decade. And we in our 8th year now. So we have a couple of contracts that have gone over 5 years, which is crazy. Like they have loved us for over 5 years. So truly grateful for that. But it makes it a lot easier when you can at least try to predict what your income is going to be from year to year. Okay. And it's not going to be an exact science, but it does help you plan for everything, plan for your business and plan for your life. There's preference programs in government contracting, whether you're a small business, minority, veteran, woman. There's set-asides that are available. Set-asides are for federal, local, and corporate agencies. So keep that in mind as well. I talk a lot about local. I talk about everything. I talk about corporate too. But corporate and federal really, really have certifications. Federal first, because they're regulated by the FAR. Corporate, I think, is a close second. When it comes to more than likely the company, which is going to be like a Fortune 500 company or something that is going to use certifications or set-asides. And then local is third because they do have local certifications, but they're all over the place. The generally speaking, the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, is pretty much every state has a DBE, but they don't really they use them, but they don't all use them. And then there's other minis. I shouldn't even call them mini, but other certifications within counties and cities and areas throughout a state for local contracting where they have their own named certifications. So it makes it a little more challenging because you can still do business with a lot of these places without the certification, whereas you're more likely, supposedly, to get business with the federal or federal government or corporate agencies if you have the certification. So, it's important, but it's not the end all be all. So if you don't qualify for any of those things, then you can still get business. It's just going to be a little bit different. And people still often forget that small businesses are about 23% of all contracts, but that still leaves 77, is that right? 77% of all other contracts are not for small businesses or minority businesses or woman-owned businesses, etc. So it helps, but maybe not. So I'm telling you, I'll be putting these notes and I'll use a little bit of ChatGPT to help. And it's like, as a Black female veteran business owner, you could qualify for several programs, and it's telling me which ones. That's hilarious. So moving on to limited competition in niche areas. If you specialize in a niche, you may face less competition than your commercial market. So sometimes people will try to sell their product or their service to the masses, whereas if you're focusing on the government, there's probably some competition, but nothing compared to on the commercial side. Let's take janitorial, for example. Most people start janitorial at the residential level or the commercial level, where they're cleaning office buildings or they're cleaning apartment complexes or condos or residential. And then so you're fighting with whoever these companies actually they know, someone that they actually know. And with the government, your competition may be 5 other companies, compared to hundreds or thousands that you don't even know you're in competition with. It's just you had a conversation with them on Monday, with the property manager on Monday, and on Wednesday, somebody else had a conversation with them you would never know. So you have to think about stuff like that as well when it comes to, you may not be super niche in your industry or the service that you provide, but you're still more than likely going to be way more way less competition with the government or corporate or local compared to just the world compared to just working completely commercial, right? So let's see. We're using this Mac, so me scrolling down and stuff is just a little bit more challenging than what I'm used to. Wait, let me go back up. Ooh. Okay, so some challenges to consider when it comes to contracting, and then I always like to give challenges, the good, the bad, and ugly, right? Because you need to know what to avoid. If you're like, you know what, Sheena, you always being negative and you're always giving the bad, I want to hear some positivity. Well, that's great. I want to give the positivity. I want to let you guys know that you can do it, but I want you to also avoid the pitfalls. Because if you avoid the pitfalls, then you'll have more positive stories. And so will I. So some challenges to consider is time consuming. Did I skip something? Hold on. Let me go back up. Did I go? No, I didn't skip them. Okay. So time consuming bidding process. I'll tell you, this is probably one of the, if it ain't the number one, it's the number two thing, a reason why many people, including my students, do not win contracts is because they are afraid to bid. And that is, something that I'm actually working on with my students and my program, GovConNOW, where I'm trying to get that fear up out you, because you'll miss 100% of the shots that you do not take. Now, let's just say, you know what, no matter how much I beg and plead and cry with you, you'll never bid. You just never will go finish, do a proposal, look at a proposal, read it, nothing, right? Let's just say you refuse to do it because you have anxiety when you read long solicitations or something. Maybe you got some kind of trauma from writing memos in the military or something. I'm going too far. But anyways, like thinking about stuff like that, I understand that everyone's superpower is not to sit there and read a 100-page solicitation on their own. And they just need a little guidance. And that's totally okay. I get it, because everyone doesn't learn the same. And as an educator. So crazy. Look, I used to teach though. I used to teach in Korea. I used to tutor in Korea. So it's not like this is my first rodeo, but I do realize that people learn differently. So with the bidding process, people just need to sit down and read, and sometimes it's a lot easier than you think. And that it can be complicated for some people, but it shouldn't be. This should be one of the easiest parts of this process. The execution is the hard part. Just bidding is not the hard part. The agency is telling you exactly what they want, what they need, what type of paper, what type of pen, like name another industry that is going to do that for you. There's not many industries that are going to give you the play-by-play. Y'all pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, collectively, or even some of us pay that individually, to learn about real estate or to learn about crypto or to learn about all these other things, when if you do government contracting, it's straight up telling you what to do for free. The solicitation will tell you what to do for free. Okay? These YouTube videos will tell you what to do for free. So it shouldn't be as complicated as some of the other things that you guys have had to do. There's people that I know that make products where you have to put chemicals together and you're hoping that somebody is not bald headed or their skin doesn't fall off when they use it, but then you're afraid to read a solicitation that tells you everything you need to do. But I digress, right? And then also with those, it could take a long time to get the approval. So you might, be waiting on that. You're like, oh, this is $1 million contract. I'm waiting for this thing to come back so I can get my money. There's a long time between when you get the solicitation and when you get your $1 million, okay? Because you gotta find it, you gotta bid on it, you gotta be awarded, you gotta start it, you gotta invoice, and you invoice multiple times, usually before you get paid, definitely before you get paid $1 million. And those who are starting off on a new contract, it's highly likely that you won't see $1 million for a long time, or you won't see it for several months on that contract. So, those things can be a challenge for people if you make it a challenge. Not getting paid for a while is a challenge, but just knowing that you can bid on multiple things, even while you're waiting on the approval process, you can, still go after other opportunities, and then boom, now you might win, them consecutively. Who knows? or all the same day. Who knows? Just like Alvarez, she did 2 in 30 minutes. It's like, how you went 2 contracts in 30 minutes? I didn't even get that. But those are the things that can happen. So you also have to monitor that. Still, I feel so far it's the fastest way, right? Y'all agree? If y'all agree, go ahead and just drop in the comments. Yes, Sheena, I agree. It's still the fastest way to wealth. Okay. But anyways, so on number 2, the strict compliance and regulations. So on the federal side, contracts have strict compliance requirements, accounting report, and security clearances. Very, very true. And especially me being a government employee and a service member, all these things are legit. There's really a lot of some people say red tape, but it's basically just the compliance. That's just what it is. It's not red tape. To me, feels like someone's trying to keep you from doing something. These are the things that are already in place, and you just have to comply. There's plenty of contracts that don't require security clearance, don't require reporting, and doesn't even require an audit from an accounting from your accounting system. There's some that just none of that stuff matters really until you start playing with IRS. Then it'll matter. But there's on the DoD federal contracting side, they'll come and do an audit automatically with certain contracts. So it has to be up to par, on point all the time. It should still be that way no matter what your accounting system. But then there's somewhere no one ever checks. As long as you're paying your people the way you're supposed to, reporting, doing whatever your reporting is to the Department of Labor, blah, blah, blah. So, and paying your taxes. Please pay your taxes because Lord, it's hard out here. So, those are some of the things that keep people from doing it. Like I had someone ask me in a comment the other day, do I need to have a security clearance to do government contract? And I'm like, no, there will be a lot of people not in this if that was the case. So, but that can keep some people away. So just be, understanding that there's a lot of contracts that don't require any of that. So we're going to go to upfront costs. Come on. Damn, I don't know why it just like skipped so far. Upfront costs is a big one because if I don't have the money, Sheena, how am I going to buy all these 100 laptops in order to sell it to, Coweta County school system? Well, you have to find it. You have to, and that's the same thing when it comes to payroll. If you're talking about hiring staff for a contract, like let's just say the contract is for staff, medical staff, IT staff, whatever, you have to be able to float that payroll for however long it takes for you to get paid. And those people that you hired are not going to wait for their money. I mean, especially when you're hiring high level, high skilled jobs like doctors and IT professionals and that type of thing. They need their money, and usually their money is going to be pretty significant. They're getting paid, in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $10,000 every 2 weeks. So they need their money right away, like at least within the first 3 weeks, because usually you're in the hole a week, and then you got 2 weeks and you get paid, right? Typically, that's how it goes. So you have to have that payroll money. Or you have to, if you're buying 100 laptops, you have to buy that up front before the government pays you. And it's interesting because I spoke to a young lady on a consultation call, and she asked me that question, like, is the government going to pay me first to buy these products, or do I have to pay it out of pocket? And I'm like, of course you got to pay it out of pocket. She's like, oh, well, with grants, it's the opposite. And I'm like, that's so true. So that's something to also think about, is like, most people might think that you get paid from the government unless you get an advance like I did. I've shared that in a couple of videos, which is highly rare. It only happened that one time, never happened again. And I always ask. It was luck. It was the Lord. It was the Lord. Okay. So you have to think about, do I have this money? Do I have access to this money? Can I find somebody with this money in order for us to do this deal? Or should I just let this one go? Okay. Relationship building is a big one. That's kind of how we changed our strategy for 2024 and even going into 2025, pivoting from just bidding and being the prime on everything. We pivoted by building relationships. And this is something that was told to me at the very beginning when I first started government contracting. I'm like, what's some advice you can give me? And the first 10 people that were in it, told me building relationships. And I'm like, yeah. I'm an introvert. I don't want to build nothing. I don't want to build nothing with nobody. I want my money and I want to go home. And I'll say that you can build a model like that where you don't have to deal with people that much. You might just sell books or sell pens, and you don't have to really. And then you have your a worker that is the face, the customer service face, and that's it. That's all you sell, and you make a great living. Brent Archie of Archie Supply that I interviewed on the channel, he sells supplies, but he has great customer service. He is a people person. But other people, you don't have to necessarily do that. Anyway, definitely I digress. So building those relationships are important, and your success could depend on it. With building with procurement officers, building with your peers, companies that are higher than you, even companies that are lower than you, as far as revenue or experience, because you might be able to use them as a subcontractor and, honestly get them for cheaper because they want to get in the game, right? It's not like you're bamboozling them. They wouldn't get the contract without you. And the same thing for the primes that you might be working for. They can't get the contract without you either, because you may have a certification that they don't qualify for. And the only way for them to get this opportunity is to do business with you. Okay. So you got to think about that. And so you can do all of this in less than a year, in less than 6 months. My first contract started off at 134,000 and it ended up being 176,000. We started it. Now I bid on the contract. It was actually due on my birthday, which was so funny because my mother came to try to give me some money for my birthday, and I got so mad because I was in the middle of trying to turn in this bid in August of 2018, and we started it January 2019 and finished in April 2019. So there's only 4 months, 176,000. It might have been May, 176,000 in 4 or 5 months. So this can happen quick. I was not prepared. I opened my business bank account with the advance check that agency gave me. It was an advance that I don't even understand how I got. I do now. At that point, I didn't. I opened my bank account with that, and it was $70,000. Wet. I'm talking. I don't think any business, maybe besides a little bit of real estate, but I never had that much money. Not at once. So talk about fast. I bid on my first contract it was technically my second. The first one I bid on in maybe April of 2018, and I won that one, but I had to cancel that one. And then the second one, August, and then we started it January 2019. And I mean, that was super fast. I didn't know what I was doing for real. I knew I was in facilities, but I didn't know what I was doing for real. So it can happen that fast. And so I still feel like there's nothing else really that I can think of. And if there's anything else y'all can think of, please put in the comments that you can start with like nothing. I didn't have $1 in a dream. I don't even know if I had $1. $1 in a dream, knowing I was gonna get to this bag, and it happened in a very short period of time without me truly knowing. Like, I knew some of the stuff that I needed to do and have, but it was still like I was getting to it, and I just kept going because I'm like, this is amazing. I gotta get more of this, and that's what I did. So for the federal side, of course, you got to register in SAM, get your certifications. You register in your local municipalities, register with some corporate agencies if you so please. Starting small can be a good thing too, so you can figure it. They say it takes the same amount of effort to bid on and execute a small contract versus a large contract. I don't know how true that is, because my large contracts gave me large headaches, but the smaller ones, not as. I feel like it was probably kind of even, but those bigger contracts definitely gave me bigger headaches. So, maybe the time to put them together might be a little bit, maybe the same perhaps, but I don't even think about that. I just think of everything as work. So I'm like, okay, does this aggravation match up with the money I'm getting paid? And it seemed like most of them have. And or if not, I just cancel it. I just like, I'm not paying the government to do this contract. So if you target smaller ones, sometimes that can give you an understanding of how things work. And even 50,000 is a lot, because my first janitorial contract, well, it was slated to be 250,000, but it was 4,000, 4,200. I was like, this is crazy. And then it ended up growing bigger that month, because they fired everyone else and kept me and one other company or two other companies. So it ended up being more. But it was good to kind of, start off like that. Well, that was my third contract, but nonetheless, it was good, and it worked out with that one. But then with smaller ones, if you're brand new, you may not have the capital to front load a larger contract. So a smaller one can definitely be better if you only have small startup. No problem. Find strategic partners, which of course goes back to the networking thing and building relationships, because it doesn't necessarily have to be you being the prime or you being the sub, or larger company, smaller company. It just depends on how the contract or the solicitation is being structured. You could be any of those, a sub of a sub, as long as the money makes sense, as long as the dollars make sense. You know what I mean? So, build those strategic partnerships. You want to work it out with that person, and that person understand what their role is in a specific effort, for a specific effort. Is it going to be, me being the prime, me being a sub of a sub, a consultant, whatever the case may be in this particular situation? Be good at proposal writing. And I wouldn't say it says master, but it's more of understanding what a proposal takes. So there's a lot of people who are like, Sheena, I just started government contracting. Can you do a proposal for me? How do you know I'm not writing gibberish or trash? I always tell people to write your first proposal. You got ChatGPT now. No excuse. You can razzle dazzle it up. Like, start there. If you started from scratch, you have no idea what you're doing. Start with ChatGPT, and then take some keywords from the solicitation and say, write me a response proposal to da da da. Right? I probably need to do an updated video on ChatGPT. But besides that, you can there's even other AI tools where you could take the entire solicitation and tell it to tell you what it's about, and then you could take those words and put it in ChatGPT to spit out at least a preliminary proposal. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to do this that doesn't require a whole lot of effort. And if you're not willing to put in that effort where you're getting all the verbiage for free or getting it all quickly, then you probably don't need to do this anyway, because there's going to be a lot of paperwork in government contracting that you got to fill out, that you got to understand, that you got to read. Everybody's not going to read 100 pages, but you have to read your contract, because once that money starts getting funny and you're trying to go back to the agency and explain, this is what I need or what's going on with this, they're going to say, per your contract, you're like, I didn't even know that was in there. Where is that? That's going to be a problem. Okay. That's going to be a huge problem. That means no money, no pay due. And you do not want that, especially for your first, any contract, but especially for your first few. So leverage your set asides. I talked about that. Certifications on the federal side, the local side, the corporate side. Reach out to agencies, and if you see that they don't have any certifications, and say, hey, my name is Sheena Parker. My company is Foresight Industries. I see that you were looking to do this ABC County landscaping contract, and I see that they have a heavy point system for those who are locally certified. We would love to partner with you on this landscaping project if you're willing. Boom, something like that. And that was just off the dome. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even like, that wasn't even ChatGPT. That was off the dome. So you can just take that where it's rough, throw it in ChatGPT or throw it in something else, whatever you want to use, and just say, make that sound more professional in a professional email. Boom. Like, I just gave y'all like free game on free game on free game. What does the future say? Free bands. I don't even know that's a bad thing to say. I need to ask my son. But free game is what I gave you. Super free. So can it be the fastest way to wealth? What's the determination? What's the verdict? What's the verdict? So government contracting can be the fastest way to wealth if you have a business that meets government needs, which is almost everything. I can't think of anything that I'm looking at in my office that wouldn't be a government contract. Because, I do my weird contract Wednesdays on Instagram, and there's some stuff that I'm like, what? Even there was one for a sex change doctor in prison. Okay, that was a federal contract, I believe. E-cigarettes for prisons, boat training, musicians, all kind of stuff. So it's most of the things that you guys offer are gonna meet the needs of the government or corporate. Get certified, as I stated, and have access to cash flow. So all these things can be kind of what's the word I'm looking for? All those things can be contingent, because depending on what you do, you may not have an issue with any of those things, right? Or you may not need them, because let's say you hire a subcontractor and they're willing to wait to get paid. So boom, that solves your cash flow problem, because maybe they're a larger company. Maybe you're doing a mentor protege program, whatever, right? So there's a lot of ways to do this, but you got to strategically do this, please. You can do it with no money, but do strategically. Make sure it makes sense, and you're not just like, well, we'll see what happens. That's kind of what I did. I would not recommend doing that. But wanted to share those few things of, do you feel like government contracting is the fastest way to wealth? Because I do. And if you could think of any other industries that you can get money like that, basically where it's free information, free, and then boom, you can get $100,000 in 4 months, like I did. I can't think of anything right now that's legit. I mean, there's some stuff, but I'm saying legit where the government is begging you to come and take their money, essentially. Not take. Oh my God, I got to be careful with what I'm saying on here on YouTube. Where the government wants to work with you. Okay. So of course you guys knew. For those who don't know, those who are new, welcome. But I should have said it first. But those who maybe don't know, my program GovConNOW teaches about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. You have unlimited access to me and my past performance. And we have a whole network of people in different industries who are partnering together and just doing great things. I really love this. I love talking to y'all. And if there's any videos that you could think of that you would like for me to do, leave them in the comments, because sometimes I want to make sure that I'm delivering information that you guys need, and not just me talking to the screen all day. But anyway, I also have my Circle GovCon Moneymakers community in Circle, where people are doing meetups and sharing information and partnering, and that's 100% free. Also, for all my veterans, the GovConNOW mentorship program with the course, veterans have a forever discount. So all you got to do is email me and say, Sheena, give me my discount. You have to just show proof of your veteran status, whatever documents that you have. But until next time, y'all, it's your favorite veteran. And I'm out.